In November 1963, the final act of what became known as the Buddhist Crisis played out in this building. The Buddhist crisis deepened entrenched instability in the South Vietnamese government and paralysed the fight against the growing communist insurgency. It was the spark that ignited America's catastrophic ground war in 1965. This French colonial building was the presidential palace of America's man, the founding president of South Vietnam, Ngo Dinh Diem. And this is where the bloody coup against his violent rule came to a head. Welcome to part 3 of this Rusty Compass travel guide to America in Vietnam. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, head over to the blog at rustycompass.com, or you can find them on this channel. This series is designed for people who love to combine history and travel. But it's more than that. I hope it introduces fascinating people, places and events in Vietnam that you might not have previously been aware of. You might meet some new Vietnamese historical figures too. It's all stuff that we hope will bring extra meaning to your travels. It's what we love to do at Rusty Compass and at our little travel company, Old Compass Travel. America's 8-year partnership with South Vietnamese President Ngo Dinh Diem came with a complicated family package. 3 of his brothers would be deeply and controversially involved in the administration of his government. Younger brother Ngo Dinh Nhu was President Diem's reviled offsider, enforcer and brutal security chief. His glamorous wife, Chun Le Xuan, also known as Madame Nhu, would become a de facto First Lady to the Bachelor President and an unwitting bit player in his demise. Less known older brother, Ngo Dinh Thuc, was the Archbishop of Hue and close confidant of the devoutly Catholic President. Least known of all, another younger brother, Ngo Dinh Can. Like his brother Nhu, also a barbaric enforcer, Can rules central Vietnam from his base in Hue. Can doesn't occupy much space in most histories of Vietnam, but that doesn't reflect his importance in events that unravelled the relationship between the United States and his big brother, the President. In 1963, the US partnership with President Diem and his family became untenable. In previous videos in this series, we've discussed how so much of Vietnam's modern history connects with the former capital Hue, and so it was with the Buddhist crisis. Not only was Hue a former capital, it was the seat of power for President Diem's family. It was also a centre of Buddhism and a centre of Catholicism. In the Buddhist crisis, those forces clashed. The crisis was fuelled by the president's powerful brothers. By the time it ended, the president and 2 of his brothers would be dead. In Washington, the stage was set for a major escalation. The devout Catholicism of the Ngo family could express itself in hostility to the country's much larger Buddhist community. In May 1963, Hue's Buddhists were forbidden from flying flags during sacred Vesak celebrations. President Diem's older brother, Hue's Archbishop, influenced the president's decision. The security forces of the president's younger brother, Hue despot Ngo Dinh Can, were responsible for the violence. In the protests that followed, at least 8 Buddhists were killed. Soon after, the Buddhist Crisis went national and then international. There are many places in Hue that connect with the Buddhist Crisis. One is especially chilling. A few kilometres from the centre of Hue is an abandoned ruin that stands as a haunting monument to the brutality of the Ngo regime. The finest craftsmen and women of Hue would have been put to work on this project. Built just a decade after the end of the Ngo dynasty, there are traces of the work of Hue's once proud royal artisan class. This is the abandoned former residence of Hue tyrant Ngo Dinh Diem. Unless you are a scholar of Vietnamese history, you probably won't have heard of Ngo Dinh Diem. But he's a man that had a very big impact on the history of Vietnam, and you might even say on the lives of many Americans as well. This is a pretty chilling place to explore. Knowing the biography of this man and the desolation of this place made this one of the most chilling ruins I've ever visited. I didn't want to hang around. A short walk from his residence, Gun created cells for the torture of his political enemies in a complex of old French ammunition stores. This monument remembers the victims of Gun's cruelty. In the couple of hours I spent wandering around Gun's estate, I didn't see one visitor. The Tien Mu Pagoda on Hue's Perfume River is the oldest and one of the most revered in the old capital. As the Ngo brothers tightened their grip on the Buddhists of Hue, the many pagodas of the city united in protest. And in these serene grounds, you'll find an incongruous exhibit that remembers the sacrifice of one monk whose protest would horrify the world. Tien Mu Pagoda displays the small blue Austin that the Venerable Thich Quang Duc drove to a busy Saigon intersection on June 11, 1963. The car became an accessory in one of the most disturbing and impactful photos of the 20th century by photographer Malcolm Brown. That photograph was taken at this busy Saigon downtown intersection. Saigon's population today is 6 or 7 times what it was in 1963. The intersection is barely recognisable. But there are reminders. This stupa was erected in 1967, just 4 years after the Buddhist Crisis. Not only has it survived, it's actually been massively expanded just across the road there. In 2010, almost 5 decades after Thich Quang Duc's horrifying act of protest, the Vietnamese government erected a new, much bigger monument right across the road from the original. Recognition of the historical importance of the protest of Monk Duc has only increased with time. US President Kennedy seemed to recognise the significance of the moment when he said, "No news picture in history has generated so much emotion around the world as that one." For the Kennedy administration, it was a political disaster and a turning point. In the months that followed, the Buddhist crisis continued, tensions intensified, and America's priority, the fight against the communists, faltered. The 8 years of support the US government had provided President Diem and his brothers unravelled. The last straw for the Kennedy administration may have been a callous comment from Madame Ngo. In perfect English, in words that would be telegraphed across the globe, she said, "I would clap hands at seeing another monk barbecue show." It was a time when American evening news viewers found such comments from an American ally repugnant. Back in Saigon, sensing a changing mood in Washington, South Vietnamese generals started plotting in full view of US officials. They were assured the Kennedy administration wouldn't oppose a coup. On the afternoon of November 1, 1963, the US-sanctioned coup against President Diem and his brother began, with attacks against military installations across the city. Unaware of the extent of US involvement, Diem initially refused the demands of the plotters, believing he could defeat them. By late afternoon, this palace was under siege. As the siege intensified, Diem and his brother Ngo decided it was time to escape, still believing there might be scope for negotiation. This heavy secure door leads to a tunnel, and Diem and his brother Ngo escaped down here and made their way to Chalon, Saigon's Chinatown. Their final refuge was this Chinatown Catholic church. By the morning of November 2nd, they realised their situation was hopeless and surrendered. After a guarantee of safe passage, Diem revealed his location to the coup plotters. The ever-devout president is said to have prayed and received communion. It's always moving to stand in a place where a profound historical event has occurred and that's barely changed. A small plaque on a pew marks the spot where Diem was captured in prayer. He and his brother were taken from here by soldiers and executed. Guarantees of a safe exit ignored. After 8 years, it was an inauspicious end to the first presidency of the US-sponsored South Vietnamese government. Outside the city, the war raged. The US sanctioned the coup, but not the murders. Catholic President Kennedy, who would himself be assassinated weeks later, was said to be horrified by the murders. In the months and years that followed, stability and security declined in South Vietnam. Two key plotters in the coup would play big roles in the 12-year American quagmire that followed. Diem Văn Minh was a key conspirator and became head of the new military government. Nguyen Van Thiệu was an ambitious young commander of an infantry battalion based in Binh Hoa, north of Saigon. After heavy fighting, it was Thiệu battalion that captured the palace from Ngo Dinh Diem's military guard. In a sign of the instability that would follow the assassinations, Diem Văn Minh's military rule lasted less than 3 months. Soon after the coup, its consequences would make their way back to Hue, where the crisis began. President Diem's younger brother, despot Ngo Dinh Diem, was arrested in Hue and tried in Saigon at the French colonial-era courthouse that's still in use today. Found guilty of political executions, torture and corruption, he was executed in May 1964. Older brother, Archbishop of Hue, Ngo Dinh Diem, survived the coup in exile. He never returned to Vietnam and died in 1984. Chan Le Son, aka Madame Ngo, aka the Dragon Lady, was on a speaking tour in the United States at the time of the coup. She never returned to Vietnam and died in Rome in 2011. After the Saigon coup and the assassination of President Kennedy, a new administration in Washington, under President Lyndon B. Johnson, inherited a new Saigon political reality of infighting and instability. The war was going badly, and the new administration in Washington feared a complete collapse of the South Vietnamese government. A series of events in 1964, amidst the political upheaval in Saigon, gave Johnson the pretext he needed for a deeper US commitment. In March 1965, US troops arrived in Da Nang to begin a decade of ruinous US military involvement. 3 months later, Ngo Dinh Diem became the head of Saigon's unsteady military junta. In September 1967, after years of political chaos, including a second Buddhist crisis in 1966, Diem became the second president of South Vietnam, a position he'd hold through the bloodiest years of America's war. When President Diem was deposed in November 1963, there were around 16,000 US military advisors in South Vietnam. When Ngo Dinh Diem became the second president in September 1967, there were almost 500,000 American military personnel in his country. Throughout South Vietnam's protracted political crises, the war outside Saigon raged. By April 1975, and the withdrawal of the last Americans, millions more Vietnamese would be dead, 58,000 American lives would be lost, and millions of lives across both countries would be shattered. In an extraordinary historical twist, in April 1975, during the dying days of the South Vietnamese government, Nguyen Van Minh, a key conspirator in the coup against President Diem, became South Vietnam's last president. On the 30th of April 1975, it was Nguyen Van Minh who handed over power to the victorious North Vietnamese. His second stint leading South Vietnam lasted just 2 days. The victorious communists extended a humanity to Minh that hadn't been extended to President Diem. In 1983, he moved into exile in France. He never returned to Vietnam and died in 2001. Thanks for joining part 3 of this travel guide to America in Vietnam. Check out rustycompass.com or this channel for the first 2 parts in the series. And if you'd like to travel with us in person in Ho Chi Minh City or Sydney, looking at history and all the interesting stuff, head over to oldcompasstravel.com. Thanks again, and we'll talk very soon.